President Trump tonight weighing a drastic move. The U.S. now with more than 119,000 cases and more than 2,000 deaths. The president unexpectedly announcing he may issue a 2-week quarantine for parts of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The governor tonight calling it a, quote, federal declaration of war on the states. New York State with about half of those cases, overwhelming hospitals. Governor Andrew Cuomo revealing the state has begun large-scale testing of an experimental treatment. Tonight, the U.S. Navy hospital ship Comfort making its way to New York, deploying from Norfolk, Virginia today. The NYPD losing another one of their own detectives, Cedric Dixon, the first uniformed officer to die from complications of coronavirus. Chicago now in danger of becoming America's next hot zone. The Army Corps of Engineers now converting McCormick Place into a makeshift hospital. And L.A., take a look at this, closing its beaches for now. Cases there expected to soar. The virus also spreading across Texas, more than 2,000 cases. ABC's Stephanie Ramos leads us off tonight.
Today, President Trump sending a Navy hospital ship to help hard-hit New York. But as he departed the White House, Trump floated the idea of shutting down the entire region.
There's a possibility that sometime today we'll do a quarantine, short-term, 2 weeks on New York. Probably New Jersey, certain parts, and Connecticut.
The proposed order could affect the tri-state's more than 30 million residents, the most populous urban area in the country.
Well, this would be an enforceable quarantine, and, I'd rather not do it, but we may need it.
The president saying he spoke to New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo before his announcement. But during his own press conference, minutes later, the governor caught off guard.
No, I haven't had those conversations. I don't even know what that means. I don't know how that could be legally enforceable. And from a medical point of view, I don't know what you would be accomplishing. But I can tell you, I don't even like the sound of it. Not even understanding what it is. I don't like the sound of it.
A regional quarantine of such magnitude appears to be unprecedented.
Look at this emptiness in the supermarket. Y'all is doing the most. No chicken at all. Nothing.
Yeah. Hey folks, how's everybody doing? Today's video is going to be a bit different compared to my normal videos. It's not directly related to the gym, but it is related to health, and I'm a big advocate of health and fitness. So please just take into account that this is my opinion and research I've done on my own. I put this video together for you guys, and just make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think about it. Okay?
All of these coronaviruses originally came from bats. And bats have over 500 different coronaviruses. Only 7 have made the jump to humans. 4 that cause the common cold, SARS, and MERS, the Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. And where we believe they're coming from is what we call wet markets in China, where they keep live animals, and basically the feeling is you get some kind of invigoration from the animal, but the closer it is to have been alive, the more you get. And so they keep these animals alive, stacked on top of each other in these wet markets, a perfect way to transmit viruses back and forth between species. And they're all closed now in China, and the Chinese government has made a suggestion that they're going to try and outlaw these wet markets. But I don't know if that's going to happen. This is really ingrained in traditional Chinese culture. And so it would be very difficult. But if we don't close these wet markets, we'll see more coronaviruses. And so for SARS, it was from bats to civet cats, and the civet cats were actually kept in the restaurants in Hong Kong until they were ordered. And so the civet cat, it went from the bat to the civet cat to humans. For MERS, it actually went from the bats to camels, and it's the camels that are transmitting it to humans. In this situation, the highest suspect is the pangolin. And pangolins are basically armored anteaters. They're mammals. They are an endangered species, but they were kept in these wet markets. And there's a coronavirus from a pangolin that's a 99% match with this current coronavirus. So that looks likely. The sad thing is that despite the fact it's an endangered species and it's illegal to sell them in China, this is the most trafficked endangered species in the world. The meat is considered a delicacy for rich Chinese, and then the scales are used in traditional Chinese medicine.
Roads are just about dead. Traffic is at an all-time low. Back here. People, look at this madness. Be safe and don't come out unless you have to. That's the line for the register. All this.
I thought the governor was going to
shut down.
Where most people get sick and it has a high fatality rate, then what you can do is you can find those people, do source control, quarantine them, do contact tracing. But if you have a illness that is mild in a lot of people, so they don't even interrupt their work schedule, they're still going around and doing what they do socially, and there's this whole, that only the tip of the iceberg is asymptomatic people, then it's going to be extremely difficult to control.
Hello, everyone. I'm Anita Cicero, Deputy Director of the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, and today I will be your Master of Ceremonies for Event 201. On behalf of our center and our partners, the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to our audience here in New York, as well as our larger virtual audience participating online today. The goal of the Event 201 exercise is to illustrate the potential consequences of a pandemic and the kinds of societal and economic challenges it would pose. The scenario also highlights the very critical role that global business and public-private partnerships play in preparing for and responding to pandemics. Today's scenario is going to simulate meetings of a multi-stakeholder group called the Pandemic Emergency Board. This board has been urgently convened by the World Economic Forum, and Johns Hopkins has been asked to moderate the board meetings and provide expertise during the board's deliberations. The mission of the Pandemic Emergency Board is to provide recommendations to deal with the major global challenges arising in response to an unfolding pandemic. The board is comprised of highly experienced leaders from business, public health, and civil society. The board's recommendations are aimed at top decision makers in national governments, global business, and international organizations. In this scenario, Tom Inglesby, the director of the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, will be chairing the board and serving as the moderator for its discussions. Today's exercise will simulate 4 meetings of the Pandemic Emergency Board, and each meeting will be devoted to one key topic. Each meeting will start with a video and a briefing that will provide the information needed for the board members to engage. Please note, this is not a test of any particular person, organization, or nation. The participants are all playing as themselves. That is, senior business executives, NGO leaders, and government officials. They're not expected to be pandemic experts. We've really asked them to participate based on their own expertise and their best professional judgment. With the exception of Tom Minglesby, none of the participants know any of the details about how the exercise will unfold. The Event 201 scenario is fictional, but it's based on public health principles, epidemiologic modeling, and assessment of past outbreaks. In other words, we've created a pandemic that could realistically occur.
All right, guys, so that concludes my video on the coronavirus. Again, my opinion on research I've done on my own. I encourage you guys to do some digging of your own. You can't go off the media. The media is 90 to 95% controlled, so do some research of your own and find out. It's not a virus to be taken lightly. Please take precaution and inform yourself. Besides, do not go crazy, because I said inform yourselves, because it'll avoid from you from panicking and going nuts due to what you're hearing on the media. So do some research of your own, take precaution, stay safe, please stay healthy, and protect yourself and loved ones, okay? Until next time, like, comment, and subscribe.